I'm a professional video editor and I'm currently working with 6 clients, and I have to make sure that I stay organized so I don't lose any important links or I have access to the reference information or any information that me and my team need. So in this video, what I'm going to do is show you guys how to make a hub, which is basically like your company's main page, if you will. It's almost like the main page of a website, let's say. And then we're gonna go ahead and implement a way where you can have your own little headquarters the way I do and each of my members do. And then above all, how to organize the important information such as to-do lists, documents, client lists, and then we're gonna put it all together into one database that everyone has access to depending on what they need. But all right, here we go. So now once you actually are in your Notion, right, you're gonna go to the left side here and you're gonna create a new page, okay? So this is my new page now. So I'm gonna call this, think of it as your company's main website page, your headquarters, if you will. So if I was doing this for my company, I would call this Civil Studios Hub or Home Base or whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna go ahead and add an icon. So I always love having icons, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put a spider web and a cover page as well. So for the cover page, I'm going to go ahead and just use video, I guess. There you go. So then now I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this by the top left here, clicking that there. I'm gonna star this. Now the reason I'm starring this is because this is gonna add it to your favorites. So if you go to the left side again, if you go here, you're gonna see there's a section called favorites. So I always advise to favorite every important page that is important to you and your needs. So that way you have quick access to it and you're not hunting for it all the time. So, okay, you're at your home base now, right? Now, what's important right now is to let's first create our databases, but we're gonna organize it by having it in a page, okay? So the way you're gonna do that is you're gonna do the backslash, and then you're gonna type PAG or page, and it's right there, page. So what we did now is we created a page that is linked in our home base, and in this page, we're gonna title this databases, okay? So the reason for this is because you do not, I'm gonna go ahead and add an emoji like always, because you do not want your databases to get accidentally messed up. So I really recommend to have a database page where they all exist, and then you can link them later. So it's almost like you're gonna create later a mirror. So if a teammate accidentally deletes something, or someone, even the owner could delete something, you have a reference to it later on. So that way it just doesn't go away. But all right, so we have our databases, right? Now, one thing that I learned that I enjoy is I'm gonna create it into a toggle. So I'm gonna type H1, and then right here it says toggle heading 1. So I'm gonna do that. Now I'm gonna call this first database, right? Now we wanna think, a database is more just a grouping of information that we need for a particular reason, right? Like I like different databases for different reasons. Everyone can do it differently how you like, but here's what I recommend, at least to do it how I did it, which is I'm gonna create one database. I'm gonna call it for my team members database, right? So like I'll just type team members. Go ahead and close the toggle, so make sure it's closed by it pointing to the right. Just go to the next line down, and now you're gonna do backslash databases, okay? We're gonna create a new empty database source. So you could do backslash DATA for database, backslash new empty data space. Now we're gonna call this database team members, okay? Now that we have it, right? The thing is this, I don't wanna create databases and have them all just kind of lined up because it's not as clean. So what I recommend is now quickly putting this database in the toggle. So you wanna click the toggle button to open it, and then you're gonna click and drag your database right underneath where it says team members. Make sure you see the blue line there. Boom. So then now that way you can toggle the database. So that way when you have like multiple databases, they're not just like blah on the screen. They're a little bit more organized. So now that we have that here, and we called it team members, consider this now, right? Your team members pages. Now here's the thing, why are we doing it this way? Well, for example, I'm gonna create my team members now. So what is my team members name? So you have me, Tony, and for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna use my friend David, David Ratz, and I'm gonna leave it like that. Now, what we can start fleshing out is like, what do we want to exist in the team members database, right? Like what is important for your company to know about your team? So for me, what I would like is to know their name. I would like a photo of them if possible, because I'm a visual guy. After that, I want to know their titles, like what they do to the company. And then the last thing I want is to make sure that they have a little section where they can put a link to their portfolio. This is more so we can all just have quick access to that if we ever want it or need it for any reason. So let's go ahead and flesh that out. So we have the name here, Tony Santos. We have David. Now, the next thing I'm going to add here is the role section, like it's showed right here, role. I clicked it because it said it, but if not, you go to add property and then just find where it says anything along the lines of that. If it doesn't say role though, like I actually don't see it here, then you can just use this as a select. So the role that was added because it was recommended to me is actually just a select type right here, this thing. So click that, you can, and then once you click it, you can rename it. So normally it would go like this. It would say select, you can just rename it to role. So what role do I have? Well, technically I am the video producer for the team, and I am also, I guess, CEO, but I don't like that title personally. So I'm just gonna stick with video producer. Boom. So I'm the video producer for this team. David is our graphic designer. There you go. Now, aside from that, what else do I want? Well, I'm gonna go and add another property here, and I want to add the URL feature right here in the select type. Now this one, I'm just gonna call it portfolio. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a quick link so people can see each other's work. So for me, if I just put my website here, TonyRSantos.com/Notion. I misspelled that. All right, and then for David, one second, let me see what his was. For his is Raxa.design. There we go. So, okay, so now we have the name, we have each other's roles, we have our portfolios. Is there anything else? I would say for right now, that's about it. That's all we really need to know about our team members. Now, the cool thing is, if I go here now where it says Tony Santos, and then I can open inside Peak, I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly add another icon as well. And then, so for that one, I'll just do this web again. And then your cover page itself. Now, if you add a cover page, this is where you wanna add your profile picture. I'm gonna quickly go ahead and upload a photo of me. Now, okay, once you add the photo, you can reposition your cover photo. I like to do it at the eyes like that. And there you go. Now, why is that important to add? Well, because once you have your team members' stuff filled out, right here in the settings for this database, if you click it, you're gonna change the layout right here. First option, layout. You're gonna change this from table to a gallery. And then once you do that, it's gonna look like this. Now, the last thing you wanna change is you're gonna go to layout, gallery, and then right here where it says card preview, it says page content, you're gonna change it to page cover. And then bam, there you go. So now this is basically already starting to flesh out as a company hub, if you will, like a members hub, right? So then now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna quickly in the settings again for this database, I'm gonna go to where it says layout. So what I'm gonna do here is change it from load limit from 50 to 10. And then I'm gonna go ahead and change center peak to side peak. This is how I like it. Now, what is the difference is center peak, if I click on it, it pops up in the middle like this, but then side peak changes it so it pops out on the right side, like that. And I like this. I've always liked it like this. There's certain reasons where center peak can come in handy, but I like it like this for right now. So that's how I'm gonna leave it. Now, the last thing you can do here, if you'd like, is in the settings section, you're gonna go to property visibility. Now, remember how we added a portfolio link and the role? Well, right now in the properties, they're hidden. So we can click this eyeball to show it. And then there you go. So now we can quickly have access and see who this is, a link to their portfolio, and then what role they play in the company. So this is our first database that we want to create, which is our company team member database in the databases page. Now, the next thing you want to do is hide this title, I would say, just to make it cleaner. So I'm just going to click right here on these three little dots, and I'm just going to hide database title like that. Why? Because we already know that this is the team members database here. So if you click the toggle, boom, there it is. Now, the next database that we want to create, I would say, is a documents database. So documents is more, just think of it like a cabinet. Okay, we're going to build a virtual cabinet and we want all the important information, whether it's, you know, like the database, think of the database as the cabinet, and then each page that you create is like a folder. Okay, so that's how I visualize it. That's how it makes sense to me. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do \H1 again. We're going to toggle heading 1, and then we're going to call this documents. Now, one thing to keep this organized is on top right here where it says team members, right? And then documents, like I would want to separate these by a line. So what you can do is just go down and click on a blank section so you get this blank space again. You're gonna like quadruple click the dash key on your keyboard, which is next to the plus and equals key, to create this white line, and then just put it in between them like that. It's just so you can separate them, keep things a little bit more cleaner visually. But now we have our documents heading, we have it as a toggle. So remember, close the toggle first, press enter to get to a new page. Now we're gonna create the database. So database inline. All right, new empty database from source. So this one, we're gonna call it documents. This can be where you keep stuff such as like company receipts. You know, we can do company taxes if you want. Maybe that would have been better probably than receipts. And then lastly, we can do, company software to install. So maybe you want to create a whole database folder where you have like the links to certain keys for certain installations, right? So that's what we would do here. And then now we're going to do it the same way as the team members, where we're going to switch this from a table view into the gallery view, right? Now, this is up to you entirely. I just like the way it looks when I do it in gallery. That's why I'm doing it, but you can leave these however you'd like. So don't necessarily follow exactly how I'm doing it. This is what I mean. I'm giving you the blueprint. You can customize it to your heart's content. So settings, layout, I'm going to change it again to this time the gallery view yet again. I'm going to change really quick the load limit from 50 to 10. So what that just means is how many of these images can I load at once when I hit this database that I would want to show. I'm lowering the load limit. So like on my phone, if I'm gonna open this, I'm not opening 50 pages. So that's using more data and possibly slowing me down. I'm just gonna do 10 at a time and then just put the important ones I need all the way on top. And then if I need more, you can load more in. So now that we have company receipts, company taxes, company software to install, let's say that's all you need. So then let's just tidy things up again. So next to documents, I'm going to hide database title. And then because these are the folders now, think of it like this again. This database is my cabinet, company receipts is the folder. Now in this folder, I'm gonna go ahead and add an icon. So actually, let me speed this up. I'm gonna add my icon and cover page just like I did earlier. Okay, so now that you added an icon, a cover page, and don't forget to go to the settings for this database, and you're going to go from layout and change it from page content to page cover. So that way the cover are your images. Make sure you have this set to load limit of 10. And then everything else is kind of up to you. Again, I'm gonna change it from center peak to side peak. I just like it like that. Now, okay, we have our company documents. So now I'm going to open the toggle and I'm gonna left click and drag it in there and hide it away. There you go. I'm gonna tuck that bad boy in, create my dash again. And let's just do one more database. And this one itself is going to be, we have team members documents. Oh, we're gonna do our clients database. Now this is probably the most important one because this is where all the information for your clients should live to keep your team, you know, organized, if you will. So let's go ahead and do this. So H1, toggle heading. We're gonna call this client list or clients. I guess clients is fine. And then, all right, let's do our database here. New empty. I'm just gonna go a little faster now that we are getting used to it. So clients, I'm gonna hide the title and then the name for the client. So let's say for now I have Thomas Frank. Okay, let's say I'm also editing for Disney, and let's say I'm editing for who's one more person? Charles Cornell. Okay, so those are my 3 clients for now. And then remember, you can add properties that'll help you really understand more about your clients if you'd like. But I'm gonna keep it simple because then again, I just want to show you guys the overview picture of all of this. So I'm gonna do the same thing now. I'm gonna add some icons and cover pages. All right, now that I have my icons and cover page, I'm gonna go to the settings and yet again, I'm gonna change the load limit to 10, do side peak. I'm going to change this into a gallery view, and then I'm gonna make sure that the page content is the page cover. So here we go, right? Now, here's the important thing when it comes to like your client database. This is where you wanna really flesh out the pages for each client because you really want the important information about them to exist somewhere. you know? So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, we'll start with Thomas Frank. Here is my folder. Consider this page like a folder for Thomas Frank. I'm going to open up the folder. Now, what do I want to know? What is important for my team to know about Thomas Frank? Well, there's a lot of things really that's important about Thomas here, but let's say for now, I'm going to add the property, and I really want them to have a link to his website, you know, or his YouTube channel, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and add the URL link. And actually, you know what would be easier? Change this really quick from gallery to table, and let's just add it like this. This is actually going to be a lot easier to fill out the information as a table and then switch it to gallery later, at least for me. So, okay, now that I have the links for each of these clients, then I'm going to open it up. And then this is kind of where you can experiment, like I said. Add more properties if you like. Maybe for Thomas Frank, you know, you just kind of want to do things a certain way. Like, let's say for Thomas Frank, you want to be like, all right, so Thomas here likes his videos to be minimalist and wants us to never reuse B-roll, right? Something like that. Like, you can just start fleshing things out however you like. Let's say you want to put a screenshot of his YouTube channel, and then you can say this is his main channel as of now. Look at the color scheme or whatever. Anything that you want to put now for your clients can exist in the page itself. So let's just leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and change this back out from a table view to gallery. And then I'm going to change it again from page content to page cover, 10, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. And then the last thing I want to do is make sure that for the properties, I can see the URLs for each client as well. So there you go. So now we have our clients database. I'm going to dump it underneath the client section there. And there you go. So now we have our databases technically, right? We have everything we need. I know you're probably going to need a lot more than just this. So now let's go back to our homepage, okay? Now, one thing that I like, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea because you can just kind of navigate this however you would like, but I'm just going to go ahead and do /breadcrumb like that, and then I like to put it on top. There you go. So the breadcrumb is just so you have a quick link to where this like a quick navigation link on your page. I know that exists up here, but sometimes when you're like deep into multiple pages, I kind of just like having it accessed right there, like just right on the top of the page. I know that means I have to basically do this for every page, but I don't have a huge database personally, so that's how I do it. But okay, we're gonna go back to the home base. So now here is your page, right? It's called databases. Now, one thing you probably want to do is say do not delete. The reason for that is because you just don't want someone to see this and accidentally delete it. So I'm going to go to the little section here, the left side of this. I'm going to change this into a red background. There you go. So that way visibly you see do not delete and it's red. All right. So now here's the thing. You know how we created our databases like we just did? So that is where now we want to put these. We want to put the databases here in the home base, right? Why? Because again, your home base is your main page, and then now we want your team to be able to see the important information, and then they can navigate however they'd like. So here's how we're going to do this. What I would like first is to create a call out block. So you're going to do /call call out, click it. Now mine is red because I just changed the previous thing to red. So I'm going to change this call out block from color to default. There you go. Why am I doing a call out block? Well, this is a kind of a little shortcut that I like to do for a little bit of like aesthetics. And then really quick, go to the top right here on these three dots and make sure this is full page. I like to utilize the entire page that Notion gives us. So top right, full page, click it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna / again here in the call out. We're gonna type database, right? But what we're gonna do, oh, actually, maybe not database, sorry. You're gonna do / and you're gonna do table, TAB, all right? So when you go to /table, there's something called table view right there. Click on table view, and then now you're gonna go down to where it says link to existing data source. So what I'm saying is I'm gonna pull information from something that exists already. So let's say in the first part of your page or your home base, you wanna first see your team members. So we're gonna click on team members. All right, there you go, and boom. So now here's why I personally like to do the call out is because now we have this cool little border surrounding this, and you can change the color if you want to, like, I don't know, let's say blue. There you go, your team members section is now looks blue, you know, like you can just have some fun with it, but I like doing this because of the aesthetic look that this has. But all right, so then there you go. So now here's why I also, just so you know, we put databases in its own page, because this is now a link view. So basically, if I were to delete this on accident, I didn't delete the actual database now and have to redo everything. I just deleted the view of it, a mirror of it, if you will. So I'm gonna just undo that, and there you go. So now I'm not necessarily worried about this getting destroyed. So, and then the cool thing is you can just start fleshing this out when the time comes. You hired a new client or you hired a new worker for your team. Well, okay, their name is gonna be Eileen. I'm gonna link her URL, and then she's gonna be a video editor for the team. And that's it. And there you go. And then anything important to Eileen can exist in her page, just like me. Anything I want to exist in my company page, I can write it myself right in here. So this is kind of up to you in terms of how you want to flesh this out, like I said. And now we want to link the other databases that we made as well. So we're going to go ahead and go again, do the call out block again. We're going to now inside of it, type table or table view. We're going to link to now, let's say we want to look at our client list. Boom. There you go, clients. And then I'm going to make sure that I change this into a gallery view. And there you go. And then I got to click, I guess I got to click. Maybe I messed up somewhere, but I got to rechange that. There you go. So now, in our home base for the company, here are our team members, here are our clients, and maybe the clients, I'm going to change the color into green because they're paying us. And then last but not least, call out. And then we're going to insert here the last thing, which is going to be our documents. And then our documents here, we're going to change it to gallery because it said right there. There you go. But documents, maybe I don't want it green. Let's say for this one, I'll just do purple. I don't know. Let's just have some fun with it at this point, right? And then you can now kind of just like maneuver things around as well, but this is how it is. So now me, I like to put things side by side. I like to utilize multi-sections, I guess you can say. So a simple way to do it is go to, let's say, your clients. Go to the left side here where these dot, the drag dot, or the drag icon is. You're gonna click it and drag it to the right of your team members call out. And then bam, look at that, boom. Now they look like this. So it's a little cleaner. I like it. I like the look of it. And then now documents itself can go right underneath one of these. And you can tell because of the blue line. Like if I do it here, it's just utilizing this whole space. But if I do it right underneath, you can see how the blue line is half now. Boom, it's going to put itself right underneath it. Okay, so from here now, there's like two more things I would say we have to do. So the first thing we got to do is make sure that, for example, when it comes to this database page, the very important one we don't want to mess up, I would recommend locking it so no one makes any changes. And this is like a whole other video that it talks about like permissions, who has access to what kind of page, who can edit a page, what have you. But let's say, again, if your team's not so big, then I would just lock the page, make sure only you have access to it. So what you're going to do is open it up. And then once you're in there, you're going to go ahead and just go to the three dots right here. And I would recommend locking the page down. There you go. Now, other than that, now we're going to go back. Because now if you look at this. I'm trying to delete, by the way. Nothing. Because it's locked. And only that person who locked it should be able to unlock it. So I can do unlock for me or unlock for everyone, okay? So for now, I'm gonna keep it locked so nothing gets messed up. Although, oh, actually no, I'm gonna unlock it for me, right? Because now, this is the second thing we have to do. Aside from making sure the database gets locked, there is one more database that we haven't made that we need to make. Because then this whole thing kind of was pointless because there's one database that needs to exist and be important, which is, I'm gonna type my heading really quick. Your to-do list or your company tasks or whatever you want it to be. This is the last database we have to make. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. So to-do list, then we're going to do backslash database, new database. This is called my to-do list database. All right, I'm going to hide this title. I'm going to go ahead and actually keep it like this. Now, the to-do list database is unique because we got to give it a couple properties to make this a simple to-do list. And I want you to know, again, this is supposed to be an idea of coming at this very simply. You can make this more advanced if you like. And in fact, there's a lot of people such as Thomas Frank Explains. They can teach you how to make really robust to-do lists. But I like my things simple, because when it gets complicated and I start feeling like I'm not doing it correctly, I get overwhelmed and want to just stop doing it. So here's what I would do, okay? First things first, a to-do list only works if there's a way to signify if you've done it or not. So first thing I'm going to do is add a property here, okay? So the property is going to be what is called the checkbox right here. I'm going to close this down by highlighting this section right here. You see this? All the way down. Just like that. And I'm going to put it all the way to the left. Why? Because for me, a checkbox makes sense when it's on the left side. So now I'm going to give myself a task. I clicked on name. I'm going to give myself a task. Finish recording to-do list video. Boom. All right. Now I'm going to just drag this out a little bit there. You know, you can mess with it how you like. But okay, so now we have a checkbox that'll indicate if it's done or not. See that? Next, we're gonna have our name. So this is our task. Okay, our finish recording to-do list video. Okay, so that's the task name. Okay, so we're gonna change this to task. And then we can do like a pencil, I guess. I don't know. There you go. I gave it a different icon. Now, what's the next property that we want to add to this? Well, I would say the next thing we want to do is give it an assigned to property. So what does that mean? Well, assigned to will work when you have multiple people that are sharing this Notion account with you, or like this Notion document page, whatever. And the way this works is you do an assigned to section. And if I click it, for now, you're gonna see me, and look at my other friend Clement, who works with me sometimes. His name popped up, which is perfect. This is great actually for the example. So here's the thing. This video is on my to-do list. I gotta finish this, so I'm gonna assign it to me. But now let's say I have another to-do list task that Clement needs to do. So I'm gonna say gather client information and write them in client's database page. All right, so there you go. Now this one, I'm gonna assign it to Clement. So Clement, that is your task. Boom, just like that. All right, so then now we have a checkbox for who's doing what. Or sorry, we have a checkbox for when you're done. We have the task name. We have who's it assigned to. So the next thing we want to do is a status property to know where we are status-wise. So I'm going to add this, and right here it says status. Boom. Now you can change the icon if you'd like. All right, but now that we're in the status one, okay, what we can do here is now, if you notice, it comes predetermined already with to do. It says not started, in progress, and then done. But we can edit this property. Okay, so here's what it means. Right now, when you click on edit property, it's going to show you all this. So what this is saying is, okay, well, what do you want to add in your status property, right? So for me, I'm like, okay, well, not started is fine, but in progress, when something's in progress, there's various different ways that it's in progress, if that makes sense. So for me, you can do, it's in the writing stage. So I'm going to write writing. Next, sometimes it's ready to be recorded. So we know that it's ready. Then after that, we have ready to edit, and then ready to publish, or gathering B-roll. You see what I'm saying? You can add as much in progress sections that you want. And then in your completed section, right? Like completed just means like, okay, what would be completed? You can say it's done. You can say that it was uploaded to YouTube, which you would just drag this down now to the complete section, and then we would change the color to green. So there you go, uploaded to YouTube. What's another thing it can be? It can be uploaded to, I don't know, Google Drive. You know, again, the sky is the limit to what works for you and your company's needs. But I'm gonna leave it at that. So now we have our status property. I'm gonna change this video to ready to be recorded. Now here's the thing. I have in my way of doing things, I have 2 due dates typically when I work with clients, because there's an internal due date, right? Like a company due date, if you will, and then the actual client due date. So the difference for me is I like to think of the internal due date as like a due date that I want to get this video by so I can review it before we show it to the client. So let's quickly put two due date properties here. So that's 1 due date property, and we're gonna add 1 more. So go to date. So I'm gonna call this one client due date, and then review due date. There you go. So let's put it this way. The client wants the video now. They want it by October 31st. They want it by Halloween or on Halloween, okay? But because this is a big project and I need to review it, then what I would do is I would want to see it before we give it to them. So let's say at least 3 days in advance. So I would tell myself, Tony, get this done so I can review it, or the company can review it by October 28th. We can make any adjustments or whatever. Or we show it to the client and then we know there's going to be some feedback, right? But we have to have this project done completely by October 31st. That is why I like to think of 2 due dates whenever I work with clients. It's going to be an internal review, client review, and then the actual day that it needs to be done. And we're almost done fleshing this out. I would say for now, what we can also do is we're going to have links, because I use Frame.io to review videos whenever I'm reviewing projects. And then other than that, we also have Google Drive, and that's also where sometimes clients post like their draft of things, or the finals go there. Point is, put as many URLs as it makes sense for you, but here's what I would do. I'm going to add in the property, I'm going to add the URL, and this one's going to be my frame.io URL. So I already know if I see something in this URL, right? Like let's say, for example, that I'm ready to review, or I'm ready for this to be reviewed by the client, right? Well, then I would just drop the URL right there, and that URL should be the exact URL the client needs to go to their folder that contains everything that they need for review. And then the last URL I'm going to add is, it could be whatever you want it to be. Maybe it is going to be a final URL. So let's do it that way. So what does that mean? Well, sure, we're going to have 40 different URLs because we have 3 different drafts, let's say, right? Let's say we have 3 different drafts, therefore we have 3 URLs now. But we don't want to have to hunt through every revision that was made, or every final video, or every final.mp4 that we created. You get what I'm saying? So what I would do is just get, when the project is approved, ready to go in frame.io or Google Drive, I will then drop that final URL there. Because that way I know if I ever need to reference this in the future, that is the exact link to the exact approved project, none of the other stuff that I can, get lost in the weeds with. All right, now here is the last thing. This is a little bit more of an advanced section. Okay, what we're gonna add here is we're gonna add 1 more property. This one we're gonna call a relation property, okay? So what does that mean? Well, if I go here to relation and I click it, what I'm allowed to do now is to basically handshake, if you will, one database to another. So what does that mean? Well, what I like to do for my company is, for example, I'm going to relate this to-do list to the client database. I'm going to do a 2-way relation. I'm going to call this to-do list like that. There's going to be no limit, and it's related to clients, add relation. So what did I just do now by doing this, okay? I'm going to put this closer to the front now. Let's say I'm going to add it right after assign to, like this. If I click it, boom, look at that. It's showing me my client's database, and it's showing me the name of each client that I have. Now, this is the cool thing. I love doing this because, for example, let's say finishing this video to-do list wasn't for me. Let's say this is for Thomas Frank. So I click Thomas Frank. So there, now I know this to-do list has to do with Thomas Frank. And if someone in my team was like, well, what do I need to know about Thomas Frank? Or I don't know who this is. Well, they can click and then click on Thomas Frank. And now they have a quick link to Thomas, and everything that's important about Thomas should exist in his page like this. So you're basically allowing yourself to quickly relate to-dos to the client, but you're also in a way helping your team stay up to date as much as you can, and you're also allowing it so that no matter what, you kind of know what the project is for. It's never really a guessing game. Like finish recording to-do list video, but who's it for? You know what I mean? You can write it, but I like it like this. And this to me is probably an advanced thing. I don't know if it really is, but this is how I love to stay organized. And I think just like this already, this is pretty fleshed out now. So all right, let's go ahead and toggle open the to-do list. We're gonna drag this database now, okay, in there like this, close it up. We're gonna go back to our home base. And now here's the thing, okay? This to-do list needs to exist for your company's or your team members' pages. And each of their pages, this to-do list needs to exist. So what do I mean? All right, well, every day when I wake up and I go to work and I check my Notion, if I go to Tony Santos, my hub, my HQ, I'm gonna call this HQ, there you go. Tony Santos HQ. When I open this up, which again, once you create it, favorite it, so you always have access to it. When I come in here, anything that's important to me should exist here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am going to now do a table, table view. I'm going to link to existing data source, and I'm going to do to-do list. And there you go. So now, I'm gonna hide the title here, but there you go. So now I have the company to-do list in my homepage. And then now the final thing to do to make this as organized for your team, if you can, is we're going to now filter this by who is the one that is trying to like access it, right? What I mean by this is, okay, I, Tony, only want to see things that relates to Tony. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to right here where it says filter. Once you go there, you're gonna go to assign to. Now, what we're doing is we're telling the database, hey, I only want to see things that is assigned to Tony Santos. Boom, save for everyone. And there you go. So now this right here is going to show anything that is assigned to me. And here's the cool part. If I click on new page to add a new to-do in this database, if I click it, it's automatically assigned to me. Why? Because I'm the one that clicked it, and the database knows that, and it's only going to show me things also that's assigned to me. And the cool thing is, even if, let's say collaborate. Let's say in this to-do list for collaborate, it has Clement. As long as my name's involved, even though Clement's involved, you will always see me. So this is it. This is now what you have to do for the rest of your teammates, is we're going to go ahead and assign, or we're going to put this to-do list in each of their hubs and make sure that it's filtered so they only see what is assigned to them. Because that way, if you want, you don't ever have to go to that to-do list database anymore. You can just assign tasks on your homepage. So if I wanted to create something just for Clement, so I'm gonna say, talk to Gianna about possible Nike deal, right? Again, it's gonna be automatically assigned to me, but I can just assign Clement, remove me, and then boom, it is gone. Why? Because it's filtered out. It's only showing now in Clement's database. Technically, it's going to show in the company database, but it's showing Clement now on his to-do list because he was tagged in it. And that is what I love about stuff like this, is being able to just tweak it to how you like it. But this to me now is a really good spot for you when it comes to how to set something up like this for you to use with your company. Because if you look at this, like, this isn't that complicated, right? Like, maybe this actually should be hidden. Maybe I'll add it to the bottom here. There you go. Do not delete it in my document section, whatever. But the point is, like, when you look at this, this is something that is, in my opinion, pretty simple in terms of just how it's laid out. But that's the beauty, is you can organize and make this as extensive as you'd like. But this is how I've kind of found my way of doing it, my flow. And then, yeah, I think this is a not so bad way to get things started. So now, just to give the last overview, right? Like, okay, well, today is a new day. So, all right, what am I doing today? I'm going to go to my homepage, okay? And then I'm going to just see. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Today, I have to finish recording the to-do list video. Okay, well, I open up the page. I'm going to give myself some checklists of things I have to do. Well, let's see. Record making homepage database. That didn't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyway. Talk with Mickey and Donald about recording their B-roll. So now I'm just making myself a checklist for this task. Let's say I'm gonna talk to Thomas about making things more extensive, whatever. And then what I do actually is I also add a pencil. So when I add a pencil like that, it just means there's more in there. But anyway, so now I'm just checking things off. And then here's the thing now. If I click this checklist, right, if you notice, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away because why? It's just a button in a way, right? Like I'm just checking it off. But in order for this to be a good to-do list, what I would recommend is two things. One, you could have it like this if you want, and then you can just sort this by the checkbox, and then you're gonna do ascending just like that. So what does that mean? Well, if it's checked off, then let's add a couple more pages, right? Like look at this. Anytime I check it off, it's going to organize it right away. You see that? Like it's gonna organize itself on ascending. So anything that's unchecked will be on top, everything checked will be on bottom. But some people like that, but I kind of like things a little bit cleaner. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go right here where it says table. We're gonna add a new view. I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna make this a table view still. I'm gonna make sure it's the to-do list database. So there you go. So here's all the tasks now. Again, since I'm looking at a new view and nothing's filtered, nothing's organized, it's gonna show you everything. So really quick, I'm like, okay, what I wanna see in this view, which I'm gonna rename this actually, is I'm gonna see the history. What does that mean? Well, I'm gonna filter this first by anything assigned to me, because that's what I care about. But I also wanna filter it. I wanna filter it by the checkbox. I wanna see everything that was checked. So basically now, here in the main table now, we're gonna quickly filter this as well, but we're gonna check the checkbox into unchecked. So what does that mean? Well, in the table view, the first view, okay, anytime I check something, it's gone. It's officially out of my to-do list, right? Why? Because I told the database that in this view, in this table view, I only wanna see things that are unchecked. But if I go to the history view, I'm looking at things that are checked. So that way, if you accidentally click something and you didn't mean to, you can click on it and it goes right back. Boom, see? So now I have my current to-do list of things I gotta get done, and I have a history to-do list view. So I can see everything that I've done before. This is it. We're done.